2.
All right, welcome back. Morse Code Podcast. Dan Morse, your host. Soapy Priap, everyone's favorite Cambodian podcaster, is with us as well. How are you, bud? Good evening.
I'm doing well. Just to be clear, when you said excuse me, did you burp or fart?
I don't remember. I think I was just a general excuse of my actions.
I was going to say in podcast life, like years are really like decades. So seconds are really like days. But hey, hold on.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Excuse you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Now here we go. Let's get right back into it. So if you guys have been rocking with us for the past few weeks, kind of feels good to be back, just the two of us, getting back to kind of what we do best, and that's talk about God knows what. But no, we've been super thankful, man. We've had a nice little run with getting some, I feel like I say this at the beginning of every episode when we have a guest, but some people who actually know what they're talking about. A lot of Celtics insiders, a lot of NBA insiders, between Nick Gelso of CLNS Media, great guy, by the way. He's been really good to us since we started rocking with this thing.
Great hair.
So shout out him. Yep. Great hair.
He's got the Pat Riley. I said that to him. He didn't seem to acknowledge it, but great hair, Nick, if you're listening.
Yeah, great hair. All-time hair. And then from that, we had John Corrales from Mass Live. That was a great conversation. Really cool insight from him. And he's just a cool dude in general. If you don't follow him, if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and do it. And then 1981 NBA Finals MVP Cedric Maxwell, for some reason, wanted to join us and chop it up for like an hour and tell some really cool stories. That one, I'd recommend the YouTube version for sure.
Definitely.
He kind of did like a show and tell within the first like 10 or 15 minutes of it, which was cool. And then Soapy took the reins and interviewed Greg Dickerson, who, if you're a Celtics fan, I would certainly hope you know who Greg Dickerson is. That was a dope interview, dude. That was a lot of fun as a listener.
That was a wild ride. I mean, he made it easy because he was so willing to just answer, before we hit record. I told him, this is going to be some Celtics, but I just want to hear some stories from you and probably mix in some jokes. And he's
this is going to be some bullshit.
He basically said, I don't, it doesn't matter what you bring up. I'm cool to do it. Let's just talk about whatever. Yeah. I am on the Mass Pike. So if you hear me like getting pulled over, just hit pause and we'll resume. That
would have been good.
He was cool.
He was, dude. I thought you two had some really good chemistry.
I'm not even a chemist, and I can confirm that.
I am a chemist, and I can definitely confirm that.
That's why we have you on the show.
From one chemist to another. That was good chemistry. Where the hell was I going with this?
Cool guess.
Is that it?
It's been a while since you and I have recorded.
I know.
Just solo.
I know. It kind of feels good.
Feels good to be home.
It feels good to be home.
Where's
that from? Oh, yeah.
What the hell is that song? Oh, Touch the Sky, right?
Jay-Z? Oh, yeah. Yep. Good call. Great video.
Also,
I miss music videos.
If you're ever feeling down, just follow the instructions in the title of that song.
Yeah.
Touch it.
He's been in the news lately.
Shout out Wayne. Touch it or not.
Shout out Yeezy. Oh, dude. Great call. That's the title of the edited version, right?
Oh, yeah.
I believe the original is Suck It or Not.
Yeah.
With Cameron.
Sorry.
That's a great song.
Great
Definitely
song.
Can't make that song today. I don't think.
I get blank in the strangest places. Two at the same time. Call it Changing Faces. What a great line.
That's hip hop. That's a great song, dude.
So relatable. Me and you in college. Wow.
When did that come out? Was that even on like an album? That couldn't have been on like a studio album. No way.
I don't think.
I think it was Cameron. It was Cameron featuring Lil Wayne, right?
I think that's right. And I think it was before college. I want to say it was 05 or 06. I can see myself listening to that in high school and being like, damn, that is Changing Faces.
This dude's spitting. Yeah, that's a jam right there. Dude, it's so funny you mentioned that.
Faces?
I meant to bring that up. Like, I don't know, a month or so ago. Side note, like, time is just in a whole new like manner since like Corona and like stay at home and shit. Like Things that were weeks ago literally feel like years ago. So I was going to say, when we had that first episode talking about Cam Newton, I was looking for like a Cameron song to play as an intro to the episode. And, and I wasn't going to use that one, but it made me think about that one. And I was going to ask you if you know that song, because I don't know if we've ever talked about it or like listened to it before, something like that. But I literally, and great call, by the way, about like 0506, because I vividly remember downloading that from Napster at my parents' house, at like my house when I was like a teenager.
Great song. That was it's hilarious to think about those songs, to be like, yeah, I was fucking singing along to those, acting like that was my life.
Yep. 13-year-old white kid in New Hampshire. Walking down the club.
Hey,
walking
makes
down the
two
street,
of us.
rather. Yeah. I can't pull that shit anymore. We're on YouTube now. Cover's blown.
No. Sorry, guys. Here I am.
Here I am. All right, let's
But yeah, it's been a minute.
Start the show. I assume you haven't been recording yet, so let's start the show. Here we go.
Okay. All right, we're back.
Back from commercial break. This is why we have guests on. But anyway, I did. Yes, please.
Did you want to say a word from our sponsors? Oscar Mayer Wiener.
You don't have any.
Okay. I'm looking right at it right now.
This show is 100% organic.
Sponsor free,
ad free is the way to be. But no, I was saying something before we went on that tangent. Kanye West is in the news.
At the very beginning.
No, after that, Kanye West is in the news. I don't really want to talk about this much, but have you seen this?
God. It's so disappointing. I'll put it that way.
That's a great way to put it. Very disappointing.
As an old fan of his, it is so disappointing to know that guy is so talented, and I 100% get that he needs help. He needs to get it, and I hope that his family helps him get it. But it just does. It's unfortunate knowing how talented he is, and that it's what we're seeing right now is the worst side of being like a talented person, which is typically that you're unique or different in some sort of way, but most of the time people can contain it, and this guy's just absolutely lost it.
I mean, talented people, and I've seen talented people say this, are wired differently. Like, for lack of a better word, they're a little crazy. You kind of have to be to have that level of dedication to your craft. Kanye West is unique because I'm not going to say he's crazy, because that's a derogatory way to put it. He's pretty open about having bipolar disorder, and this is the epitome of bipolar disorder. Like some of this stuff he's talking about, and like going back and forth. It's literally split personality. It's one day I'm putting out music, the next day I'm running for president, the next day I'm withdrawing from president, the next day, he had that controversial, speech, rally, whatever it was. Now he's going off the deep end on Twitter. So it is certainly bizarre, kind of sad, and even from like disappointment is a great way to put it, even just specifically music wise. You know what I mean? Like, you and I have both been pretty big fans of him as a person, him as music wise, his creativeness back from like College Dropout days. And people say a pretty clear line between old Kanye and new Kanye, current Kanye. The gap is just getting like bigger and bigger, and it's just
they're two different people at this point. It's
100% bipolar.
Yeah,
the epitome is the definition of the disease.
Yeah, and it's like I'd be fine with not getting any good music from him. That's fine. That's just us as consumers being like selfishly wanting to see what he produces and what he can be capable of. But I wish for his sake that he could just be healthy and stable, and not go on these crazy rants where he's just making a unfortunate name for himself where I don't even know what the hell his legacy is going to be when he's done at the end of his career. It's like not to bring up, one of the, obviously my favorite artist, Michael Jackson, but what is his legacy? Like, it's pretty 50-50. Some people like the music and the dancing. Some people remember him for being a molester. And
it's what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
That's the last thought. So yeah, I'm with you.
I have put in my paperwork to be his VP. Haven't heard back. I don't know if you're supposed to do that. No, Kanye West. Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeezy and
Pre-up
Breezy.
2020. Yeezy and Breezy. That's dope. Put that on a t-shirt. So get cease and desist. But yeah, that was interesting. But if you think about back to Kanye, there's different stages, because now I think this past weekend or whenever it was, we're recording this on Saturday. I think it was like early midweek when he really went on like a Twitter rant. It was like calling out Kris Jenner and the Kardashians. And I hate to say it, dude. It's like you marry into that family. You're fucking asking. Everything that happened was inevitable. I mean, you know what I mean? But prior to that, remember, it really, I see, and ironically enough, I think it really took a turning point with the Taylor Swift thing. And that wasn't like, I don't think that was on the bipolar, the mental illness side. That was just like, okay, maybe this guy's kind of an asshole. Like when he did the Taylor Swift VMAs or whenever. I don't remember. Was that the VMAs or the Grammys? Wasn't it Grammys?
Yeah, and it was 2009. That was a long time ago. That was the beginning.
Was it the Grammys or the VMAs?
The VMAs.
Okay, I was gonna say Grammys is way too big of a stage for that, but
they would have thrown him off the stage if that was the Grammys.
Off the throne. Yeah, that was when I was like, because he's always, well, it's interesting because if you're a real Kanye fan, you've been following him for a while. When he first came up, he was known as being shy, and I'm so shy that they thought I was bashful, like a very like introvert. You know what I mean? And then, rightfully so, he got a little cocky, a little confident. It's what happens when you fucking win 10 Grammys every year. And then it went from that to the Taylor Swift thing. And then it just kind of got really blurry from there. I'm trying to think. Do you consider 808s and Heartbreak part of that or no?
Meaning, is that before he went Kanye?
Yeah, that was a different album.
It was.
But I don't think that was him. Like Yeezus. Well, no, because Throne was after 808s, right?
Yeah, Throne was 2011.
So Throne was fine. Yeezus was when it was like, musically, it was like, this is kind of trash.
So Yeezus 2013, and you can pretty much put a pretty clear line in the sand.
Well, what about Dark Fantasy?
That was 2010.
So that was went between which albums?
And then Throne.
Dark Fantasy was after 808s.
Yep.
Okay. So 808s was fine. 808s was his different music, and that was a good album.
Yeah.
Fantasy, some argue, is his best album, and then Throne, which was fine, and then Yeezus was a little out there, and then Pablo was different, but that was a good album.
Yeah,
that had its moments. And then I don't know. It's just been a bunch of dog shit, like weird stuff since then. Maybe the real turning point was when like the fashion took over the music. You know what I mean? Like with the Yeezys and stuff, and then all the weird like clothing fashion. And now
I think that came to define his mindset, where he really, really wanted to be different, and he took it to a point where it's like, dude, a lot of your fans liked you in the beginning because you're
kind of like your music.
Yeah.
I really can't afford any of your clothes, but I kind of like your music.
I would prefer not to wear foam for sneakers.
Yeah. I really can't. I can't really swing $400 for a black ripped up T-shirt. But when 808s was at Walmart for $12.99, that was cool. I like that.
I can do this.
I could work with that side of the business. But I can't really stand in line and threaten to get killed trying to buy $450 pair of sneakers.
He took the mentality of having a chip on your shoulder to having a bag of chips on your head. I don't know. It was like such an admirable trait to begin with, where kind of reminded me of Kobe, where he was just a guy who wanted to prove
I feel like Kobe.
Other people wrong. Yeah. But then it went the other way, and it was like, dude, you've won. You were the biggest rap, I don't know if you want to call it pop star, whatever. You've reached the peak. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but you could just keep making music and we'd be good.
I'd be straight.
If you want to make it's like half-ripped shirts and try to pass that off.
And you can do that, but not for nothing. He can do whatever he wants. But it's like, I'd rather him have gone one way or the other. I'd rather say, hey, I'm retiring, because people retire from music in like, there's no such thing as retiring from music or like retiring as an actor. You know what I mean? If he was like, I'm going to retire from music for now and focus on fashion, great. And now's a perfect example. He would always hint with these album drops and shit like that. And as a fan, and I'm sure you can relate to this, it's like, we're just like waiting, like, okay, like this is going to be the one. This is going to be the comeback one. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be great. And then it stinks. You know, it's like, even going all the way back to Yeezus, which was a legit studio album. I thought that wasn't very good. Like, you can handpick a few songs from each album as good, but it's like, what was the one he made out in Wyoming? Like the bipolar one. I forget what the actual title was called though.
I think it was "I'm Bipolar, What's
This
Up"
is awesome,
or something like that. Yeah,
I'm Bipolar. This is awesome. That was the name of the album though. No, it was called Yay. It was called Yay. The album was called Yay.
That was just on the cover art.
Correct, which was sick, and that stunk.
Big stink.
Pablo is good. I think Life of Pablo is good. Great concert.
Speaking of concerts,
well, he had another one after that. No, maybe not.
Jesus is King.
Oh, yeah, it stunk. And then he had that project with Kid Cudi too. That stunk.
Yeah, Kids See Ghosts.
Yeah. And then he produced a few things. Like, he produced that album for Pusha T, which was good. I was a little underwhelmed with that Nas album that came out that he produced. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like, since there's no such thing as like CDs dropping, it's on Spotify now. So now they're like 7-song albums. And it's like, all right, this is sick, but it's like, it's 25 minutes. Like, I just listened to it. I'm already done.
Yeah.
And then he was supposed to have, he hinted again, I don't know if this is him just going off the deep end, but he hinted it again at his newest project coming out Friday. I knew it wasn't going to, which it didn't. And then Taylor Swift just bodies him out of nowhere and drops an album.
For the listeners, I can't believe I'm saying this 10 years later, but I put this on Twitter. I'm 100% looking forward, or I'm going to listen to that album, and I was way more looking forward to that than I was Kanye.
I listened to it. Well, like here and there. It's not bad.
Okay.
It's music. Like, it's
she puts out hits. She puts out music that, like, I just want to listen to.
Yeah, I think like I said, like, Kanye West drops albums and I was like, this isn't, like, Yeezus wasn't music. It was like a weird ensemble of like sounds and bullshit. But there's a few, like I said, you can pick, like, Blood on the Leaves is a great song. That was off of Yeezus. What else was on Yeezus? Black Skinhead was pretty good. The fuck was the other? He had an actual single off Yeezus. Maybe not. It's too cool for singles. Oh no, that's Jay-Z. Never mind. I was thinking about "Fuck With Me, You Know I Got It."
I was gonna say no. I was gonna say the song with Paul McCartney and Rihanna, but no, that was one. That was like songs.
A single.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, very disappointing.
Anyway, yep, very disappointing. Good way to wrap it up. And again, that was right. I know we didn't plan on talking about that, but I feel like it has to be addressed before we get into, I don't know, talking about anything somewhat structured. I mean, some things have happened. I mean, that was that. Jamal Adams got traded today. Regis Philbin died today. Like, I don't know where to start.
I actually got those two confused.
You thought Regis Philbin got traded to the Seahawks and Jamal Adams died?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you bring this up.
Mm-hmm. Are you good? Any further questions?
Hold on.
Host
is Jamal the white guy?
No.
No. Okay.
Black guy.
Hold on. Okay. Hold on. I think I got it straight. Regis Adams died in Seattle. Jamal Philbin is now hosting Who Wants to Be a New York Jet.
So far, you couldn't be more wrong. Who wants to be a Seattle Seahawk? No, but in all honesty, like, Regis is the shit. Like, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
Just
pretty legendary guy.
I don't think I know anyone who has anything bad to say about Regis. I don't think he's been involved. Really? Get him in. Knock on the wall.
Trust me, I tried. He. I don't even want to get into it, but
I don't either.
We don't want to talk about him.
That's fine. Serious question. Excuse me.
Sure.
I don't think he's been involved in any, like, real drama.
No, the only controversy that I can think of is whether or not his teeth were real.
I'd say no. I'd take the under on that one.
Those had to be veneers, right?
Yes. Artificially fused teeth. Artificially intelligent teeth.
AI.
The answer. Regis AI Philbin.
So,
What were you
you
gonna
do
say?
agree though that those were fake teeth, right? Had to be.
I do. I think
Those are
so.
the fakest looking
Well, what do
greatest
you
teeth in the history of teeth.
like when you say Regis was almost 90? I think he was 88,
Yeah.
right? And shout out, by the way, I saw that from Jabroni Radio. Jad Namani, friend of the program.
Oh, yeah.
He
Big.
broke. That's where I saw the breaking news. So shout out Jad, a Jad bomb, Namani
Go
bomb.
follow him at Jad on the radio.
I'd follow him. I'd
Yeah.
follow him. Speaking of that, do you have our handles up on the video?
Let's see. I do.
I don't see him.
Oh no, I don't.
Our listeners
He
certainly
doesn't
don't
show
see
up
him.
on YouTube anyways, though.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
okay. Damn.
It's because I got into a little beef with Mr. Tube.
YTube, YT,
Yeah.
YP. So when you
Tube.
think when you think Regis, what do you think? Like, who's your Regis?
Just hosting in general. I do.
Well, but like what show? I feel like he's known for 2 shows.
So
right?
I'm guessing you're thinking of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and the New Year's show. Did he do New Year's?
Regis and Kelly, Regis and Kathy Lee, his morning show. Oh. He did that way before Millionaire, right? That's what he's famous for.
No, I know, but
so I know he hosts shit too. He hosts like events.
But does he do the New Year's ball drop, or am I thinking
that was Dick Clark?
Oh yeah,
another Mount Rushmore name. We do this pretty much every episode, so I'm glad we're staying with tradition. Is Dick Clark dead? I believe so. If not, we just killed him.
If
he's got to be dead. Dick Clark's dead.
I'm not even saying this to be funny. If he's not, he's close.
That wasn't funny at all.
He's got a reservation.
Please hold Dick Clark
at the local
morgue.
Yeah.
Dick Clark is dead. Open the phone lines.
All right, let's see.
Wow. Dick Clark is big dead. Dick Clark's dead. When do you think he died?
Now that you say that, I'm going to say like 2011.
2012.
Wow.
Guess what year he was born? I don't even know how old this is, but it just seems very old.
I'm going to say 1925.
1929.
Wow. Damn.
That's such a long time ago.
He was born right before the Great Depression.
Right.
And WW2, your favorite war.
It's up there. Regis was 88. So Regis was born 2020. This should be somewhat easy. 60 is 80. So that takes us to 1940. 1932, correct. So he was like a teenager during World War II. He if you're right now, if you're in your 80s, even like your late 70s, like you've lived through some shit.
You're doing well.
And are still like cognitive of the shit going on today.
And if you're listening to the show, congrats.
If you're listening to the show, I'd recommend you turn it off and go do something better.
Yeah, not sure what the hell you're doing if you
can do better than this. My goodness. We should get an 80-year-old on the show.
Hey, wait.
I think my grandmother's 80.
Great number. But can you look up Bob Barker?
He's dead.
You're sure?
I'm like 80% sure.
I'm like 88% sure.
I promise we're going to start the show shortly. Hold on, please. Bob Barker is dead. These are times where I wish we went like live. So we could have people comment and be like, of course he's dead, you fucking idiot. No way.
I'm going to say he died in 2015.
Whoa. I'm on Wikipedia.
He's not dead.
I see a born date. I see a dead date. Bob Barker's 96.
That man has not concluded.
Check this out. Occupation, television personality / game show host. Years active, 1950 to 2007. That's a fucking run.
That's a serious question.
Go ahead.
Do you think that Bob Barker hates prices?
I bet he just hates numbers. It's defined his life. Dude, you know how like rich people and like rappers brag about like, oh, I don't look at price tags anymore. Bob Barker doesn't look at price tags. He doesn't need to.
Never.
Bro, I know. He will throw shit in his carriage, get to the register and say, don't tell me. I got the exact change. We're good.
I swear to God, if you tell me, I'm jumping over this card scanner.
Don't waste the effort. I got it.
Let me guess, $29.95, right?
He did it again.
Not a penny over.
Nope. That guy's been doing the same shit since like 40 years before I was born.
Yeah, you think he just hates seeing numbers, right? Unidentified caller calls him. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
It's like a form of like PTSD. Like, not again. So yeah, R.I.P. Regis. To go back to my initial thought, I think of Regis as Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That's my Regis.
Mm-hmm.
But that was only like, I don't know, no more than 20 years ago, maybe 25 at most. He's 88. Say he started working when he was like in his 20s. I don't know what else he used to do back in like the 70s. Did they have TV shows back then?
Who wants to have $100?
Like Today shows? Who wants to give me a ride home? Yeah.
Who wants to make 5 figures this year?
Yeah, but no, a good one gone too soon. I don't know. He's almost 90.
I don't know about that.
Right on time.
He's gone.
Right on time. That's 2020 for you. Take the good ones. Leave us the shit. I had a thought I was thinking about earlier.
Sure.
I think I kind of, again, we don't really have too much of an agenda today.
Mm-mm.
I don't know how I want to frame this, but I've been thinking a lot about the Charlotte Hornets lately. NBA basketball franchise.
You and no one else.
Exactly. I feel like the Charlotte Hornets back in like the 90s, you know what? It all goes back to disappointment. They're such a disappointing franchise. They had go back to the 90s when they were pretty good. Cool players, Muggsy Bogues, Lonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson, Glenn Rice. What else do you want? Great logo. I think one of the best logos in NBA history. Mm-hmm. Great court design with the logo. One of the greatest starter jackets of all time, hands down.
That's one.
And then it's like they underachieved in the 90s. Then they went to the Bobcats, or however you want to look at it, Bobcats or the New Orleans Hornets. Both were, I didn't really care for either of them. They're both kind of silly. Michael Jordan buys the team.
Heard of him.
Michael Jordan buys the team, and it's like somehow they've become more irrelevant since Michael Jordan bought the team. And one thing I was thinking of, and I think I said this before, I started rewatching The Last Dance. It's on Netflix, by the way, which is really cool. It just reminds you how insanely, literally insanely competitive this guy was. On the court, off the court, fucking throwing quarters against the wall with his senior citizen security guards. Hated losing. Hated it. That's what he's known for. I don't understand how he has underachieved this much and it's like just not talked about as an owner. Like as soon as you're an owner and you're like, oh fuck, like Michael just bought the Hornets, like here we go. He's going to be relentless, ruthless at acquiring free agents and making trades and making sure this is the number one franchise in basketball. And it's like they just stink. Like not only do they stink, they're irrelevant. I guarantee if we pulled a group of like, you know, maybe not NBA fans, but people who are somewhat familiar with basketball, I bet they don't even know the Hornets are back.
No, they're in the worst spot to be in basketball, which is they're not a lottery team, but they're not a middling playoff team either. They're usually around like
slightly below
30
average
wins.
team. Slightly below average team.
It makes you think that phrase, oh, he knows where all the bodies are buried. It's like Michael Jordan has all the secrets of the league, and that's why somehow they're able to stifle the stories about him being a terrible owner. Like, I don't know, maybe Michael Jordan knows that Adam Silver is a vegetarian or some shit like that. You know, something very negatively impactful on your reputation. Yeah.
Yeah. Really soil your reputation.
That would kill the league.
That would kill him.
Yeah. You see how skinny he is?
Yeah.
He couldn't stand to be a vegetarian.
Skinny. But you know what I mean? Like, do you ever think about that? It's just like he's an absentee owner. You don't see him much.
Nope.
like if he wasn't Michael Jordan, you'd have no idea who the owner of the Hornets was. It would just be like, oh, whatever. I don't know. Maybe he's done so much and he's just like, whatever, fuck it. But he's still a relentless gambler. He still has that drive. You could tell during Last Dance. He still hates the Pistons. He still hates all those guys. He still is that guy. And correct me if I'm wrong, he is the majority owner at this point, right?
Yeah.
Didn't that shift somewhat recently, like within like the last 5 years?
One of the first black majority owners in sports, I want to say.
Good point. Another great point. It's like you have a big opportunity. And I really don't know. He hasn't done anything substantial. Shipped Kemba out. They haven't
in the very beginning.
Anyone.
They used to show him which was kind of strange. They would show him on the sideline, and he would sit at the end of the bench.
Yeah,
I always thought that was kind of strange. But I was like, that's kind of cool because if you want people to think that you're taking this seriously and see a uniqueness in your team and just be like, damn, that is sick. We go to the game, we're probably going to see MJ at the end of the bench.
Yeah.
That was cool. He's
like what else kind of
that.
recruiting? Like what else kind of recruiting tool do you need? Like your boss is Michael Jordan, and I feel like he doesn't use that to his advantage. He was best known for. He still does a little bit, but remember back in the day, he was best known for just chirping at his players, saying like, "I could kick your ass 1-on-1." Probably could because the team stinks. But I don't know. Just something I was thinking of. They had an opportunity to be a really cool team back then. Currently, and I don't know, when you think Hornet, because technically the modern day Charlotte Hornets are the Bobcats. So where did the New Orleans Hornets come from? I forget. How did that come to be?
So they were the Hornets and they moved down to New Orleans and stayed as the Hornets.
So the Charlotte Hornets were the New Orleans Hornets.
Yep.
Okay.
And then when Jordan decided to put a team back in Charlotte, initially it was the Bobcats, and then eventually he was able to buy the name back. Made the Bobcats the Hornets, and the New Orleans Hornets became the Pelicans.
That's right.
The ugliest looking uniforms in the league.
That's right. I forgot about the Pelicans. Good call. Who do you think's like the most well-known Hornet in the last 20 years? Bobcat Hornet franchise. Baron Davis?
20 years? It's got to be Walker. Baron or Kemba.
Right? Adam Morrison? Seriously?
Jamal McGlure.
Right? DJ Augustine, Frank Kaminsky. Michael Jordan,
Chris Paul.
That's New Orleans. No, I mean like the Bobcats franchise.
Oh, okay.
Charlotte. Chris Paul definitely. He got fat.
Steven Jackson, Gerald Wallace.
Steven Jackson played for everybody.
Yeah. It's got to be Kemba.
It's a struggle to come up with a starting five. I'd say probably Baron Davis. Was Baron Davis New Orleans?
Charlotte and then New Orleans, yeah.
What have you been thinking about lately?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. Michael Jordan.
Somebody had to.
Michael Jordan was in a movie called Space Jam. Space Jam, follow my logic. Follow my path of reasoning here. Space Jam was a movie. Movies are on TV. TV also has TV shows. Many. You would
Countless.
Agree. Which made me think. Yeah, I'm still counting.
I got up to like 2,338, and I was just like, "Fuck it, I'm done. I'm done." Better things to do.
Amateur. I was there on Tuesday. I'm up to like 3,000 now.
Just a running count in the back of your like cortex.
But yeah, TV shows. I wanted to hear your thoughts because I think we've covered pretty much what's happened sports-wise. The NBA's played a couple games, but whatever. They're just.
I will say this: has there ever been more hype around a virtual preseason than this NBA like scrimmage games?
No, never.
I was like, bro, Celtics Thunder, let's fucking go. I DVR'd it. I come down ready to go, and it's like, all right, halftime. Brad Wanamaker, Semi Ojeleye, Joe Green, like all those guys. I'm like, all right, that's cool. But I actually like it was cool. It's just cool to see him out there. I mean, LeBron played. LeBron looked fucking great. LeBron played. Kawhi played. Giannis was playing. No one's really been out. Kemba was out. Gordon Hayward was playing. It was kind of cool to see. Initial thoughts on real quick, like a minute or less. And baseball's back. Actual real baseball's back too. I don't think the no fans thing is as big as a deal as I thought it was going to be. I think maybe it's just the way they like produce it or televise it, but like those NBA games, I'm okay watching those. Like you can tell and again, this is even preseason, scrimmage, whatever you want to call it. The intensity's there. Baseball's a little different. And I've gone back and forth on this. I watched the Sox today. I do kind of like the crowd noise. I almost like it better just like, if you've noticed, they have crowd noise like just throughout the production too. Like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you've watched it all, but like, just like that, like back of your mind, subliminal, like crowd noise.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell. Like, it's not like dead silence. Excuse me. A home run's hit and then they play noise, which is what I thought it was going to be. Outside of like when they pan to seeing the empty stadium, it kind of feels the same to me for the most part. And I think baseball's a little easier to hide it because, you know, there's times when there's pretty empty stadiums. Basketball still feels a little like pickup basketball, like I'm watching like practice. But it's not as bad as I thought. I don't know. What do you think?
I have to ask a clarifying question.
Please.
So you said this is all in relation to what it feels like to watch a game without fans.
Yes.
You say fans. Do you mean the apparatus with rotating blades that creates a current of air for cooling or ventilation?
Nope. Spectators at the sport.
Ooh.
Fanatics.
Trust me, I had a take on the first one, but okay. Take number 2 on
they could do
this
that.
version of fans.
That seems pretty safe. Let's have fans there. They make noise.
I don't think the players would mind it. I think the players would prefer fans over fans. Agree or disagree?
I think I agree. I think I'll give you that W. Yeah, for sure.
No, I definitely agree that it hasn't been nearly as underwhelming a product as I thought it was going to be. Number one, you can't really see where the fans would be seated when you watch the NBA games.
Yep.
So from a basketball perspective, you see the graphics, the computer, bench. Not computerized, but like
I know what you mean.
Like, yeah, scoreboard level. Well,
what is cool
that,
is
show
like
stuff.
Yeah, like they made it feel like the home team is like the Celtics were the home team, and they had like Celtics banners and stuff. That was cool. That helps. That makes it feel less of a neutral site, I think.
Yeah, and I think it is cool to be able to see and hear the players on the bench like standing and cheering. It's funny to see them spaced apart, but it is funny. Yeah. It's cool to audibly hear those guys individually cheer. So I don't mind it as much. Not nearly as much as I thought, because I was picturing, and granted, I wasn't sure what the court was going to look like. I didn't know if it was going to be a situation where, I know that Disney has courts, so obviously with them being partnered with ESPN, that it wasn't going to be a YMCA gym with the curtain hanging down the middle to separate the two courts. But at the same time, I wasn't sure, are these courts something that's, TV ready? What would this look like? But no, they've the camera angle looks just like it would if you're watching a regular NBA game. You see the graphics at the top of the screen where, the scorer's table would technically be. I don't mind the lack of fake pumped in crowd noise. I don't think you need it in an NBA
I didn't notice it as much in NBA as I did MLB.
No, if they're using it, it's minimal, and I don't think that they're using it at all. So like,
I don't either. They use the in-game, right? They use like the in-game music, which they do anyway. Cool. It's just a little more noticeable now because there's nothing else.
Baseball's been weird to me.
It's different, but it's not as bad as I thought. I'll say that.
It's not terrible.
Being home runs is different.
When I see guys that's when you see the around the bases and the empty stands, but I hear noise, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey,
anyway,
you know what they say.
What?
Oh, I thought you knew what they said.
I don't know. I don't know what they say at all.
We'll table that for
take a quick intermission. I'm gonna grab a quick drink. You keep our audience entertained for 5 to 10 seconds.
Absolutely. All right. In case you guys were wondering, I did not have that specific definition of the fan off the top of my head. I am a wordsmith, but even I'm not that good. The second definition, aside from the one that I read, is a device typically folding and shaped like a segment of a circle when spread out, that is held in the hand and waved so as to cool the person holding it by causing the air to move.
Fan?
Yep. So
Real
that's
fan.
the second definition.
Got you. Go ahead. You were talking about television. I didn't mean to cut you off. I think this could be interesting.
It was so Space Jam movie, TV shows.
Got you.
We thought it would be a good idea to discuss, in this lull of time again. I feel like we're always saying that because there's just nothing going on. Some of our favorite all-time TV show seasons and perhaps TV show characters, either or.
I remember we saw it on Twitter. I think someone was asking like, who is a perfect, I thought they worded it great. Who's a perfect TV character?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't change anything.
Yep.
At least how I interpreted it. You wouldn't change anything. Any scene they're in, they can mold, adapt to, whatever. I thought that was really cool. And that's how me and you started talking about this, but I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah.
You do seasons too, if you want. Let's start with characters.
Yeah, let's start with characters. So you and I came up with a few ourselves. I can't remember the one that they had. Oh, the picture that I had seen was Huel from Breaking Bad, the large security guard who really didn't have too many lines.
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw what you commented.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
They chose that guy? The guy who was with Bill Burr?
Yeah. And Saul Goodman, the lawyer. He worked with them.
I know who you're talking about, but he's a very, very minor character.
I know. I think that they were just like trying to go for a less talked about character, whatever.
Okay. So this is why I like this conversation, because I went that same direction as well. I think I have a few like minor characters as well. I think it's easier to pick a minor character because a major character is going to have a much bigger book of, whatever that you can work with, where you have more opportunities to have a bad scene or, have an opportunity for someone to stop liking your character, which I could go on examples as well. But it's interesting because I know there's a handful of shows that you and I both watch. So I'm sure there's going to be some overlapping characters. But there's also shows I know that you watch that I don't, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And hopefully our audience as well. But who were some of the ones that came to mind for you?
A couple easy ones. The first one was Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. Shout out to Gustavo Fring, the owner of Los Pollos Hermanos.
Great place.
One of my favorite restaurants.
Love it.
Awesome if you like chicken. Awesome if you don't like chicken and you like a front for drugs.
The drug cartel. Yeah, great place. They have it all.
A quick synopsis on him. He was just so unflappable. Just straight up badass.
Phenomenal character. Phenomenally acted, phenomenally written. Like, he's a perfect TV character. Yeah.
He never showed emotion. He was always giving commands. And I know we're not relating this to sports, but if I did have to compare him to like a position, he'd be a great point guard. He could 100% control the floor, call all the plays, and just be poised at all times to like conduct everyone that's involved. So Gus Fring was my number one.
The epitome of just like a cool character.
Yeah.
He was a bad guy.
Unfortunate ending for him.
Great ending. And we'll get into that later. But I said this on Twitter. I don't know how I got involved in. I forget what the context was, but season 4 finale of Breaking Bad is just one of the best episodes of television of all time. Mm-hmm. Like I could go back and watch that over and over and over again and still be like, and we talked about spoilers before, so I'm not going to go too into it, but it's like Breaking Bad, I think, is past that spoiler or not spoiler. That was like, that was just a very cool scene, very cool episode, very cool character. And it took a while for him to crack, not him to crack, but like, cause like they built him up pretty slowly. Mm-hmm. If I'm remembering correctly. Like, I'm trying to think, he came in like what, season 3? Cause I remember season 3 premiere was with the 2 cousins or the brothers.
God, those guys
in the cartel. Those guys are fucked up too. And then you kind of meet Gus, and then you see what he's about, and then he kind of just builds and builds, and then eventually you realize like this guy's not to be fucked with. Like this is the new.
This is the boss.
This is the top guy. Yeah, exactly. Another great episode is that flashback episode by like the pool. With all those guys. That's a great episode.
Showing his beef with like the Salamancas.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
He poisons them and takes
are,
like, spoiler it, poisons
you,
them and takes like the whatever, like he eats something that doesn't let him die.
I don't want to bring it up on here, but a lot of people don't know that Dan does not get along with the Salamancas either. So I
I,
hope they're not listening to this show.
if they are, my family's going to get murdered. So thanks.
Hush puppies.
Hush puppies for sure. Oh boy.
PETA.
Gus is up there. I made a little list. I think I'll start with the ones that I know we both watch. Gus is up there. I'm going to go a completely different direction. And we talk about this all the time, but there's an argument can't be made. Michael Scott is a perfect TV character on The Office. Yep. He's perfect. We've said this before. He's unique. Any scene he's in, he can handle. He can have he can have a scene with any character in a group, one-on-one. He can play serious. He can play funny. He can do it all. He makes that show. He, in my opinion, is a flawless television character. And he's like, there's nothing else to compare him to. Like Gus is great. And there's been stoic bad guys like in TV and movies. And I guess Michael Scott, there's been like goofy, like buffoons, but he is just in a league of his own.
In terms of awkwardness, and a guy who doesn't who doesn't have the self-awareness to realize like what he is and that he is kind of embarrassment.
Perfect.
Yeah, he can't be topped. He has the best lines. I think my favorite thing about him is messing up like common sayings or pretending to know like a well-known story and then screwing it up.
Yeah.
That's such a great motif, and it's such simple comedy, but I think Steve Carell nails it with him.
Beautifully casted. And same with Gus. I don't know who that guy is, but like I can't picture anyone else playing that character. But I saw one today. Like Office is always on in the background at my house. Speaking of like common phrases, great scene today. It's season 4 finale when Toby's on his way out and Holly's on her way in. And Michael starts like falling in love with her. And he calls Jim in his office and he's playing music. And he's like, Jim, I need some help. I'm downloading some N3Ps. And Jim just like halfway through, nope, that's not it. But what's going on? Like just stuff like that all the time. We talk all the time about the negotiation episode. The safety awareness episode is phenomenal. And I've said this before. I think one of Michael's at his best when he's like farther and farther out of his element in his comfort zone, right? AKA hanging with Daryl and the warehouse workers.
Yep. Going on a date or being around women, period.
Date Mike is a phenomenal character. Very underrated, slept on character. And then like the one I was watching today, I tweeted about was the deposition with Jan, like sitting around like a lawyer's table. But yeah, Michael Scott's up there. Let me see here. Gus Fring, Michael Scott. I'm trying to think of shows we both watch.
I got one.
Go ahead.
Marty Bird.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Marty
Dan
Bird
just showed me his phone, and aside from a picture of me, it said Marty Bird.
Outside of my lock screen. Yeah. Marty Bird I was going back and forth with, but he's there. Like, he definitely is the best character on the show. He can do any scene, anything you ask of him. Perfectly casted, by the way. Perfectly casted with Jason Bateman.
In a different way from Gus, in a completely different way from Gus, he's also unflappable. No matter what the situation is, again, to bring it back to like basketball, he's like a coach who's down 20, but always thinks he has a chance in a game.
Figures it out. He just figures shit
There's
out.
never a time where they're like, all right, you gotta launder like $1 million or we're gonna cut off your daughter's head in like half an hour. And he's like, all right.
Okay. Well,
okay, Wendy.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we're 3 seasons in and he's still alive is just like, spoiler, I fucking guess. But that just goes to show
MVP.
It's like he's so cool. Like, and he has moments from like he can go from teaching his like 13-year-old son a life lesson, and then he can go launder $100,000 in cash, and then he can go make sure his wife didn't fuck something else up, and then he can go, run the books at one of his like legitimate businesses or something, but very cool character. That's I'm trying to think, like the past 10, maybe 10 years, that has to be top 5 like best new show I've seen. It has to, maybe even like top 3. Like it's so good. Ozark is phenomenal.
Phenomenal show. I think.
Do you think it's the best Netflix original? How would you rank like a few of those?
I would have to say it is, because I can't remember a ton of others.
I mean, it's like Ozark, Stranger Things, Narcos.
Yeah.
You watch Peaky Blinders, you said, right?
Peaky Blinders is up there.
I don't watch that, but I know it's a Netflix original. House of Cards, I don't like, but I know a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
There's another big one we're missing. Netflix original. No, it's mine for sure. It's my favorite Netflix original. I think it's the best Netflix original.
Yeah,
it's beautifully written, beautifully shot. Marty Bird is perfect, and like every character is casted perfectly. Like I think Wendy stinks, but she's perfect. She's the perfect character for her role. Very similar to what's her name in Breaking Bad, Skyler. She sucks, but she is a vital part in that show.
I think one of my favorite parts about Marty is that he looks like the everyday guy. So he's not dressed like a badass, and he's not walking around with, a gun in his back pocket at all times. He's usually wearing some sort of, not khakis, but I think they call them chino pants. So just
he's a pretty good dresser.
Casual shoes, a tucked in like button up, but he's not fancy. He's not someone who you walk into a room and you're like, oh, that's someone. He just looks like an average dad.
That guy's laundering money for the Mexican drug cartel.
Yeah. It's crazy because the neighbor that I brought up earlier actually is doing that. You should
probably stop saying these things on a public forum, but for sure.
He shouldn't be using my house for this. But anyways.
I have another one that I know we both watch. This might be a little out there, but if you really think about it, I think it's true. I said Brian Griffin from Family Guy.
That is a great character.
He's not a major character, but every scene and again, he can handle his own storyline. He can handle a crazy like adventure with Stewie. He can handle shitting on Peter. He can handle hitting on Lois. Like whatever you throw at him. I think overall body of work, Peter's probably the funniest character. I think Brian might be my favorite. Like, I hate to say it because he's a cartoon dog, but he's probably the most relatable character on the show.
He is. He's like constantly drinking. He's got a crush on someone. He gets into a fight with like his best friend Stewie all the time. It's funny that you say him, because the next person that I was going to bring up, I only have one person after this. Speaking of Brian Griffin, I was going to say Comet, the dog from Full House.
Great dog. Very underspoken.
Oh, he definitely got snubbed for an Emmy in like 94 too.
Full House is tough, bro. Full House. I think, who do you think is the best character on Full House? Uncle Jesse? Uncle Jesse's a phenomenal character.
Yeah, it's got to be Uncle Jesse.
Yeah, live caller. John Stamos is live on the Morse Code podcast. Did not like what he just heard. If we had a producer, I would tell him to hold the phone lines, but we don't. So
that was my fault. My apologies.
What else do we have here that we both watch? We don't really watch a lot of comedy shows.
I've got one that I think you would agree with, and he's not like an important character.
Go ahead.
Jazz from The Fresh Prince.
Yeah, Jazz is great. I was thinking Carlton as well. But Jazz is like that perfect side character that he doesn't waste the scene. Let's put it that way. Similar to Waldo Faldo from Family Matters.
There's never been a scene where throwing him out of the house is
not hilarious.
Yeah.
And the best part about that, it's the same clip every time, if you notice that. Like, Phil will throw him out at night or at day, and it's that same bright sunlight scene.
Yeah, and he could be He could be wearing a suit in the first scene, and then it cuts to him being thrown out of the house, and he's in like a t-shirt.
He could be a quadriplegic by season 8. It's still the same scene, just throwing him out the door.
And there were like a few random episodes where he was the main storyline, and he still was phenomenal.
Yeah. What were his biggest storylines?
I want to say that there was one where
Dating
he got
Hillary?
married to his not sweetheart, but to whoever his girlfriend was, Maxine, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and even in stuff
That's
like
a good
that,
point.
like he was still hilarious. DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah. I'd throw Jeffrey in that conversation too.
Ooh.
I think Jeffrey
What's up,
was
G?
a pure, he was an efficient shooter.
Yes.
Will was a volume shooter for sure. And he's still a great shooter. Jeffrey was anytime this, what's great about Jeffrey's character, anytime there was like a group shot in the kitchen that Jeffrey wasn't a part of, you're just waiting for him to sneak in the back and do something hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Every time. Or just shit on Uncle Phil.
Yeah, insult Uncle Phil or Will.
Great character.
I'd hate him as a butler.
I don't know how he kept that job for so long. He wasn't very good.
He had remember
he threw a huge party. Didn't he throw like a party with other butlers?
Yeah, I want to say that it looked like the Playboy Mansion showed up.
It was like a butler party. It was
not
Jeffrey
Butler University.
I think Malcolm Butler was there. The dean of Butler University was there.
Oh, don't forget.
I think Gordon Hayward was there.
And also Patriots cornerback Darius Butler.
Darius Butler was there.
And Karan.
Karan wasn't there.
No?
You didn't see the behind the scenes. Like real true story. Karan was on his way and got a DUI on the way there. And just never made it. And now they're filming that unsolved mystery as we speak.
I was about to say that sounds creepy.
Yep. So good call there. A couple others. I mean, like I said, it's mostly like side characters I think are better. I said Arthur Spooner from King of Queens. I don't know if you watched that show too much. R.I.P. Jerry Stiller. Phenomenal character. Like he did not waste a scene. Like he just maxed out everything he did.
Yep.
Do you watch Entourage?
I've seen probably half of it, so I know, all the characters.
I think a lot of people might say Ari, but Eric Murphy is my favorite character from Entourage. I think Eric Murphy is just a phenomenal character, super relatable, very just cool demeanor to him. I think Eric Murphy from Entourage is up there. Oh, I did have Saul Goodman written down. Saul Goodman is a cool character from Breaking Bad. I haven't really watched Better Call Saul. Do you? I
do.
Is it good?
It's great. And
I heard it's an incredibly slow build-up, though. Is that fair?
Yeah, it is. Once it gets to halfway through season 2, it has a similar feel in terms of like leaving you on the edge of your seat at the end of every episode. He's a really good character just because he's such a smooth talker. Mm-hmm. Like at the end of the day, he is a good guy, but he's doing some shady things to get there. Okay. But yeah, he's a great character. I had him, and I had another
Mike
Saul. Yeah, Mike Ehrmantraut.
Mike's phenomenal character.
He might be on the same level as Gus Fring.
Yep, similar mentality.
No emotion.
Doesn't want to do more than he needs to. Just do his shit. Get home to hang out with his granddaughter, and if I have to kill a few people on my way home, fine. But hey, when the clock hits 5 o'clock, I'm punching out.
He's like Draymond. Get in the game, get some rebounds, run the offense when we need you to.
Kick the opposition in the dick, and then move on.
We don't need you scoring. Nothing flashy. And then make really weird comments on Twitter. And accidentally send a picture of your own dick.
That's Snapchat. Mike. Go ahead. You were going to say someone? Another Saul?
Saul Berenson from Homeland.
I don't watch Homeland. Oh, I know who that is, though.
Yeah, Claire Danes is like not a sidekick, but boss. Okay. But yeah, he's a good character.
He is cool because I know who he is. Let's see.
That's all I had.
I'm thinking like the major show. So like Game of Thrones. I know you don't really watch Game of Thrones. I think Arya Stark is the best character from Game of Thrones. Phenomenal character. Well written. Starts out.
Shout out to a girl I know who looks like her.
Okay, cool. Shout out her. Arya Stark's the shit. And then, do you watch Parks and Rec?
No, I should.
Tom Haverford, who's Aziz Ansari's character, from Parks and Rec is phenomenal. He's a perfect character. You don't really watch Seinfeld either, do you?
I've seen enough of it. Yeah.
Elaine from Seinfeld is a perfect character.
Julia Louise.
Right. Yep, certainly her name. And you definitely don't watch Sopranos, right?
No.
So if we have Sopranos listeners, most people would say Tony. I think Christopher Moltisanti is the perfect character. He's the better character.
There's a guy named Paulie Walnuts, right?
Paulie Walnuts is outstanding.
Such a good name.
Great name. Great. You know when people like die and when they look back, they say like Regis. They say like, you know what? Well, it's more of like an athlete. He was a great player. He was a better person. Paulie Walnuts is a great name, even better character. You would love Paulie Walnuts. Me and Poulin, shout out Ben Poulin, big friend of the program. We really got into binging Sopranos during like a weekend like snowstorm. And he really latched on to Paulie Walnuts as a character, as a name. Great hair, ruthless, didn't give a fuck. But no, Christopher, I think, is the best, most well-written, perfect character in the TV show. Dude, you should watch Sopranos.
That's next on my list.
I think it's top 10. Might even be in my top 5 best TV shows of all time. It's up there.
You said you slid that in like right between Supermarket Sweep and
Everybody Loves Raymond. So
salute your shorts
behind the curtains. Yeah, Soapy and I often have an inside joke about Everybody Loves Raymond. I think it's one of the worst TV shows ever produced. But Raymond's brother is funny. I do think Raymond's brother is hilarious.
Oh, Robert.
Robert.
It's funny because I guess in real life it was pretty similar, where he was jealous of Ray Barone or Ray Romano. I can't even remember which one is his real name.
I don't know why they just didn't make it like Ray Romano. It's clearly based off his life. Aren't there like the George Lopez show? His character is George Lopez, right?
Right. And Romano and Barone are both Italian names.
So in the TV show, his name is Ray Barone.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, got you. I didn't even think about that till now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the George Lopez show?
I watched it for a little bit.
I never watched it, but I can tell I don't like it. I don't really like George Lopez. I can tell pretty early on in a show. Oh, this is what I meant to go back to. This is where we might lose some listeners.
Uh-oh.
So we should continue this conversation.
No, we sure should.
You and I both, speaking of TV shows, I hope you know where I'm going with this. I think you and I both have a pretty strong opinion on a certain television show.
Oh, God.
Puts us in a big minority. But I just can't. I try. I try so hard. And the reason I ask is Better Call Saul. I've heard it's a significant build up to when it gets good. And you said what, like in the middle of season 2?
I would say so, yeah.
That's a pretty significant investment you need to make to get into when it's good. Would you agree?
I agree. And I'm not going to spoil.
Like, do you think season 1 was trash?
I'll say it this way. I'm going to let you announce the show that we're both thinking of. But Better Call Saul, at least you know that it's a prequel to Breaking Bad.
And
so
I think that's all.
Some, like, optimism.
I know. I'm trying to think when I gave up on it. Like I watched by the first at least 2, maybe 3, and then I didn't. But I also didn't watch Breaking Bad live. I watched it on Netflix or something, like binged it.
That can kind of make a difference.
Maybe that's why too. Maybe I'll go back. Better Call Saul's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, how do I want to address this? There's a certain group of people and who are such believers in this show. And I'm going to preface with this. I think it's a great show, the show I'm about to name. I think it's honestly probably top 20 show I've ever seen. I think that's a pretty decent amount of shows. We counted earlier. You left it, 3,000 something? I counted up to like 2,000 something. So there's certainly big pool, big pond. And with this show, it's almost like blasphemous if you, don't say it's the greatest show ever made, greatest show ever written, or God forbid, I don't like this show. You're almost like just completely shut out, whatever you want to call it. I'm talking about The Wire. It's an HBO show. Probably came out in like the early to mid 2000s. And again, I think it's a really good show. Honestly, I'm not even gonna go that far. I think it's a good show. What are your thoughts on The Wire? Like that? Do you think it's at least a good show?
I don't, honestly.
Wow. Okay. Then let me stop you there. How far into it have you watched? All of it?
Whole thing.
You watched season 5.
Mm-hmm.
That season stunk. I think The Wire is a pretty good show. It's just so goddamn slow to get going. And that's fine for most things, but it's like there's a camp of people who are just like so diehard. This is the great. I've heard multiple people say, this is without a shadow of a doubt the greatest show ever made. And I hear this all the time. This is the greatest show ever written. Right?
Yeah.
I see it all the time on like Twitter, whoever. And again, I think it's a pretty good show, but it's almost like you get absolutely annihilated if you're anything outside of this is the greatest show of all time, which it's not. It's not even close to the greatest show on HBO of all time. It's way below Sopranos. It's below Game of Thrones. I mean, I like Entourage better, but I guess I can make an argument The Wire is a better put together show. Certainly not as well enjoyable. The Wire has some great characters. Stringer Bell, played by Idris Elba, is a great character. Mm-hmm. Avon Barksdale is a great character. Omar is a great character. Outside of that, it's pretty boring. It's pretty slow. Season 3 and 4, I will say this. Season 4 of The Wire is phenomenal. That's the one that focuses on like the kids in school. I think that's a really great show. And it also includes two of the most badass characters in history. What the fuck's his name? Chris Partlow, something like that. Him and that chick who like murder people with a like staple gun, mm-hmm. and then bury him in that like crack house, pretty much. That's pretty badass. That's been there, done that. That's pretty cool. Marlo Stansfield's a great character. I'm actually, you know what? I think I'm like talking myself into liking The Wire, maybe more than I do. But that just makes my point even more. I could go into a group of people and say, I think The Wire's pretty good. And you'll just get like absolutely fucking murdered from Wire stands. What's your experience been with a non-Wire fan?
There's not too many people that agree with me, so maybe I'm wrong.
Crazy.
But the person that I watch it with or watched it with completely agreed. And anytime that I bring it up to, I only really, besides you, I really only know one person that I'm close friends with that I've talked to it about who mm-hmm. loved the show. Mm-hmm. And my biggest point of contention was that The Wire, to me, I know people like, so it was set in Baltimore. You see all the crime, you see yep. the relationship between crime, local government, school, etc. Yep. You can yep. pretty much like sum it up like that. The problem mm-hmm. that I had with it was that, to me, that's a boring storyline. And if I wanted to see something like that, I would just watch the news. I don't care enough about, like, that's why I don't like shows like Law and Order or, I don't know, any of those like really crime shows, because it was never,
Sesame Street.
I never felt riveting. I never felt like it was riveting. It didn't ever seem like there was anything that made you want to see the next episode. There wasn't cliffhangers. I get it. It was a good story. I do respect that it was like,
but it was
well written, but it was just dry to me.
Dry is a good way to put it.
Drier than a chicken bone.
Yep.
And you know about chicken bones.
It was based on just build up to a story. Like mm-hmm. this is leading to this, but it's like, that's fine if episode 3 is leading to episode 5, but it's like fucking season 1, episode 3 is building up to season 4, episode 10. Like that's where it's like, bro, like get the fuck out of here. Like you're insulting me as a viewer to think I'm going to invest that much time into it. Yeah. I think we can both argue this. Season 2 is an absolute waste of television.
You're going to hate my take on this.
You think that's the best one?
That's the one I like the most.
Maybe I have to go back and rewatch it. But it's like, it just had nothing. It was a whole, if season 2 was one episode, great. Mm-hmm. They took a whole season and used that to make a few random connections in like season 3 and season 4.
Yeah, it definitely didn't. It didn't fit with the rest of the show.
You thought season 2 was better than season 4?
Yeah. I just
No.
there was some element of like mystery and suspense and intrigue with them
Maybe I
just
need to
being on
see
the
it again.
docks, and I was like, what's in there? It felt more like a Dexter type show where I was gonna see
Yeah.
something either graphic or just like
Hmm.
a twist
Yeah.
because of the very basic premise
You
that
you thought you were going to see that.
something was in those crates or whatever you want to call them on the docks. I didn't end up seeing that, but the scene with
So
Ziggy, I don't remember his name. He's a
great
pretty
fucking
well-known
character.
character or
Yeah, yeah, I
actor.
know. The
But
main, yeah.
yeah, the main character from that season when does he
Uh-huh.
kill himself?
I don't know. Who cares?
Uh, Whatever it was, clearly not that memorable, but that was my favorite scene, and it was super graphic. I think
Maybe
he
I'll
went
watch it
into.
again.
I want to say that he went into a store, and either robbed someone
Mm-hmm.
or he killed the person that was his enemy. Then he came
Mm-hmm.
out, realized that his life was basically over, and I want to say that he killed himself in the car.
Yeah,
But either
I think I
way,
remember that.
I
You know what?
yeah, I
Now that
actually
I
think
think
that was my
back,
favorite season.
big picture. And again, I want to make this clear. I like The Wire. I think it's a good show, but I get shit on for having that opinion. If you don't think The Wire is the greatest show of all time and the best written thing ever, blah blah blah, then you're a fucking idiot. That's what I
You're
hear.
not allowed to feel anything besides like being
This is the
obsessed
greatest
with The
thing
Wire.
ever.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I think season 3 and season 4 are really, really, really good. Season 4 is so good. Season 3 is pretty good because that's really when you have like the real drug war with Avon Barksdale and Stringer Bell versus Marlo Stansfield and those guys. And those scenes are great. Those scenes are good. The bad guys make the show. The good guys in The Wire are useless. Like no one gives a fuck. I think Jimmy
couldn't have cared
McNulty is
less
a
about
terrible
McNulty.
character. Oh my God. Any of the cops are just useless. The bad guys in The Wire are phenomenal. And then season 5 got into like the politics and like the newspaper media and that bullshit. And that wasn't very good, but I don't know. I know we've talked about this like before. And now that we actually, I guess, have a platform to talk about it publicly, I don't know. That's my stand. I think The Wire is it's a pretty good show.
And I think
Hand me my L's.
Pretty terrible
That's
show.
what it comes down to.
You think it's a terrible?
You think it's closer to a bad show than a good show?
Yeah, and I don't want
Really?
to.
Wow.
I don't want this to be the end of.
I think it's closer to a good show. Oh, we're done. Pour a drink. This is it.
Yeah, if you're listening at home, pour one
Fucking
out.
toast.
Pour it on yourself.
out.
Actually,
I'm pouring one out right on my laptop as we speak.
Yeah.
In case you
I was
lose
never
me.
a fan. I think.
Wow.
I think the reason I liked season 2 is because there was like mafia
That's
related.
the most absurd part of your argument.
To me, it's absurd that you disagree with that. But yeah,
I think that's widely known as the worst season
of
any television
think
show.
I know. Yeah, I think I've seen that take publicized, but no,
I've lived that take. I watched it and told you. I took it. I've taken that take.
I like the relation with the mafia in that series.
But it has
and
none of the
rest
bad
show
guys.
is just like,
Avon's in jail and Stringer Bell's in like 3 episodes.
I know.
Those
I
Omar.
don't know. I didn't really care for just drug dealers.
Such a fucking
Bro, that's my life. Why do I want to see that on TV?
such a left-wing bitch. Damn it. I had a good thought and you made me lose it. Yeah, so The Wire stinks. Maybe that's it. What was I going to say? What were you just talking about?
Season 2 being great somehow.
No, that wasn't it.
Again, at the beginning of the episode, you did excuse yourself.
I'm past that.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, no, I think that's some interesting conversations. I'm curious what we're missing as far as, and again, it's not best television characters. It's like just the perfect character. It's just in a different league. They can do any scene, throw them in any environment. The writing, the acting, the casting, fucking cinematography, whatever. Gus is a great one. Michael Scott, Marty Bird, now that we actually talked about it out loud, is up there. It's almost kind of like an MVP conversation, right? MVP isn't always the best player, doesn't always have the best stats, but you remove him or her from the team, and what happens to the team around him. Take Michael. We've talked about this. You take Michael out of The Office, it stinks. Gus is a little different. He's more of a minor character, but you take Gus out of those seasons and his scenes, completely different show.
Yeah.
Completely different storyline.
You need him.
Marty Byrde, obviously. Like you said, Brian Griffin. He doesn't make the show, but those scenes those scenes he's in are great. You know, they kind of do make the show. A little break from like Peter's slapstick comedy.
I got a final one that Peter is great. I got a final one that I think we can wrap on.
Go ahead, but I remember what I was going to ask you.
Okay. Actually, ask me a question.
Say this while I forget it. Go ahead.
Ask me your question. I'll remember.
Okay. So you mentioned, I think the consensus is season 2 of The Wire stinks and you like it.
Yeah.
Are there any other like television or I guess even movie consensus agreements that you don't agree with? Because I have a few. And you know how I thought about it? When we were talking about takes in Taken. This might be more for our local audience, but I figured I don't know if I've ever asked you this.
Off the top of my head, I can only think of one, and I know this is a hot take. Shout out to Nick, an avid listener who is a fan of this series that I'm about to mention. I didn't mind. Let me just make sure that I have the full title correct. Hold on.
I'm just going to say mine real quick. I think Liam Neeson stinks. I would argue he's the worst actor in Hollywood. No, excuse me. He's not a bad actor. He's very talented. His movies stink. I'll put it this way. My favorite Liam Neeson character is Qui-Gon Jinn from Star Wars Episode 1. So that shows
what a hell of a segue.
From my excusing myself?
No. This is the movie that I was going to say is my hot take that I like.
Go ahead.
Star Wars Episode 3.
Great. Revenge of the Sith. Not a hot take. That's not a hot take. That's arguably the best of the 1 through 3.
Right, but everyone hates 1 through 3 enough that they're like, we don't really care.
You're
about
saying
any of
overall?
those.
I forgot there's fucking 9 of them now.
Yeah.
So what is your? Here's a great one. What's your Star Wars rank? 1 through 9. Have you seen all of them?
I've seen 7 of them.
Oh, never mind. That doesn't count.
I will say of the 7 I've seen Rogue One's not considered.
Don't count. No, fuck that.
That is a great movie. She was literally Rogue, and there's only one of her. What else did you want? If you're only listening to the audio,
one. Fuck it,
Dan held up one single finger.
DJ Khaled.
Yeah, that's my hot take. I can't really think of too many movies that.
That's not a hot take.
The River Wild,
unless you think, unless you think Episode 3 is better than 4, 5, and 6.
No, I don't.
So that's pretty standard take.
A lukewarm take.
Gotcha.
You wouldn't burn yourself on this take.
How do you rank 5, 4, 6? 4, 5, 6.
I would probably go 5, 4, 6.
That's pretty common. I'm 5, obviously. 6 and 4 are all toss up. To me, it's a toss up. It's 50-50. 4 because it's technically it's the like pilot. It's the origin story, or it's the first time you see it. Oh, great question. You were, correct me if I'm wrong, you're kind of late to Star Wars, no? Somewhat?
Oh, I was late.
Yeah, okay. All right, my wife was too. So how did you watch Star Wars? In what order?
Let me try to think. So to give it context, I didn't watch until 2016.
Till the new one, right? Episode 7, Force Awakens.
Right before.
That's what Ari did.
Yep.
Ari saw Force Awakens, and then I just wanted to go see Force Awakens. I'm not going to go to the fucking movies by myself. So I'm like, you're really going to like it. It's a really cool movie. I knew she was going to fucking hate it. And then we went, and she's like, wow, that was like really great. And I was like, okay, perfect. You should watch the rest of them. So I made her go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. That's the way it should be done. Okay, good.
I watched it in the order that it came out.
That's the way it should be done. Yeah. I think that's general consensus. If someone told me they like 6 better than 4 and vice versa. I'm not going to argue that. I think it becomes a conversation when you go over 5 over Empire. And then 1, 2, and 3. 3's clearly the best one. 1 and 2 are just, I don't know, whatever. I think I might be 1 slightly higher than 2. Just because it has Darth Maul. Darth Maul's a cool character.
Speaking of hot, his face must have been hot.
I know. I'm curious. That's a great point because it clearly looks like makeup. Like you can see the paint like glistening in the sun.
I didn't even know that was an actor.
It was an actor, but I'm talking about like the actual like in Star Wars like universe. That doesn't look like his skin. So I think he wakes up every day and puts his makeup on.
Yeah, I mean,
it's almost like the conversation we had with Jad about wrestlers and like Kane just getting ready for the day, putting his mask on. And we come full circle. Here we are, 2020.
Yep.
Wear a mask. Set shit on fire. Hang out with Paul Bearer. Call it a day. No, I'm trying to think back to the question I asked you. My biggest one is probably The Wire. And again, I like The Wire. So it's a crazy hot take to say I don't think it's the greatest show of all time. I was late to Thrones, but now I think Thrones is excellent. And no, I'm not ready to say this publicly because I do like it. I was going to say I think Seinfeld's a little overrated. Well, I think it is. I think Seinfeld's a little overrated. I think it's still a great show. Yeah. I think The OC is one of the greatest shows of all time.
Okay. Cut his line. How do I ban you from Zoom?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's got to be some things. Oh. Nope, never mind.
I got something that we can easily talk about. This is my last like character. Not to bring it back there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this one quick.
Yep.
Joel from You.
Like him or don't like him?
Like him in terms of him being very interesting to watch.
Yeah, I know
you said he was one of your idols or whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
You ended up building that box at your house.
That didn't work out well. It's just more of a maintenance thing, if anything. It's just a pain in the ass to clean. The AC and electric is just money.
Your son must love it.
He hates it. He can't stand it.
Why? You don't? Did you make the little window where you slide food in too small? Couldn't fit in baby food?
I didn't even make one. That was my first mistake.
I told you.
I got one. Let's end here. We've talked about this guy before. He's a friend of mine. He's a friend of yours. This guy doesn't miss. He's 10 foot tall, purple. He's got a tail.
Oh, man.
And this motherfucker can go from a stuffed animal to a 10-foot dinosaur using nothing but your imagination. Not talking about Taco Fall. Talking about Barney.
Talk about a guy who just who lights up a room. Lights up every room that he walks into. Bro, assuming that he can get through the door.
Serious question. When's the last time you think you watched Barney? Like, have you happened to see it like since you were like 4 or 5? For any like for more than more than 30 seconds?
No.
I haven't until, I have a 1-year-old son who loves the show. Fucking loves it. Can't get enough of it. It's a great show. I think like The Wire, it's a little slow, a lot of buildup. We're on season, I think, 11 right now, which I heard really, really has some Easter eggs going into like season 15 or 16. Mm-hmm. So I'm being patient with it.
You really got to stick around.
Dude, they just kill off all my favorite fucking characters. And it's like, I know where this is going, but it's like, you get so invested in the storyline. And then like Barney finds him behind the jungle gym, like whacked with a fish head, like by his head for some metaphoric thing. But
that's why I had such a problem with it and eventually fell off, was because it started off so innocent and then eventually it was crime, local government, and schools. And I was like,
all right, so I'm going to keep this quick because the first lady's pulling in right now. But These episodes start with like a bunch of school age children. They're playing like fucking hopscotch, or they're doing like the most boring things possible. Today's episode, spoiler alert, they're like rolling a ball back and forth to each other. And they're like, man, paraphrasing here. And the first lady just walked in. So again, I'm going to wrap up quickly. Paraphrasing. This fucking sucks. Like, this is boring, blah, blah, blah. All they do is look at this guy and poof. That little 2-foot stuffed animal, purple dinosaur, is a 10-foot walking, talking, dancing dinosaur who, with his imagination, can make anything possible.
Don't forget his green stomach.
Green stomach and his friends. Baby Bop, another little green dinosaur, and BJ, the yellow dinosaur. BJ's kind of fucked up, though. He's always like getting into trouble.
Hell of a trio. That's a big three.
Great big three.
The original big the original big three.
But yeah, so I'd throw Barney on the list. Kind of a last minute addition. Last guy on the bench.
Okay.
He's not going to play a lot of minutes, but you need him there.
Yeah, when he comes into the game, he
when Gus Fring goes down, when Michael Scott tears his ACL, Brad Stevens has to look down and say, "Get your big purple ass in there. We need
purple.
A bucket.
Get in there.
Sugar, water, and of course purple." But let's wrap up there. My wife just walked in and she certainly doesn't look happy. I'm trying to think of what I did wrong.
Oh, that's your wife?
That woman is my wife.
Gotcha.
The 2 women before who were in and out weren't my wife.
We won't mention those.
We won't mention them in public. Anyway, good stuff today. Hey, it's good to get back to normal a little bit. But knock on wood, we got some guests coming up, I think.
Yeah, I'm not going to give too many clues, but definitely stick around because we've got some. We used to say this in the beginning, like 3 months ago of this show, teasing like people who clearly weren't going to be on, but no,
right.
We have
don't say it.
We have some respected media.
Yeah, fair enough. But cool, good stuff tonight. Soapy, have a good evening, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Later.